So what makes you, well, you? It's a huge question, right? Today, we're diving into a really cool roadmap for the human journey, from our very first breath to our last. It's Erikson'S theory of psychosocial development, and it's basically a map for our entire lives. Let's jump in. You know that feeling in a video game where you finally beat a level, and then, bam, the next one is even harder? Does life ever feel like that? One big challenge after another? It's a pretty powerful way to think about how we grow, isn't it?
Well, that whole leveling up idea, a psychologist named Eriksson was totally on that wavelength. He saw our entire personality developing through 8 key stages, and in each stage, we face what he called a psychosocial crisis. I know, sounds dramatic, but it's really just a major turning point. And how we handle these turning points, that's what fundamentally shapes who we become.
All right, so let's start where it all begins. The first 4 challenges happen during our childhood, basically from when we're babies all the way through elementary school. Think of these as the absolute foundation years, where the building blocks of who we're going to be get put into place.
So what's this early life journey look like? Well, first, we figure out if we can trust the world. Then we discover our own independence, or autonomy. After that, it's all about taking initiative. And finally, we learn to feel competent. That's industry. You can see how each one kind of builds on the last, right? Okay, so stage 1, trust versus mistrust. When we're infants, we are completely helpless, right? We depend on others for everything. So if our caregivers are reliable, if they provide warmth and food and comfort consistently, we learn a fundamental lesson. The world is a safe place. We learn to trust. But if that care is unreliable or neglectful, the lesson is the opposite. The world feels dangerous and unpredictable, and that feeling can stick with us. And then comes toddlerhood. Oh boy, this is the famous I can do it myself stage. The big challenge here is autonomy versus shame and doubt. When we let toddlers explore, try things, and make their own choices, within reason of course, they build a sense of control and independence. That's autonomy. But if they're constantly told no or criticized for spilling something, that's where shame and self-doubt can start to creep in.
All right, moving on to the preschool years. This is when kids become little leaders. They're planning games, making up rules, and taking charge. The challenge? Initiative versus guilt. When their creativity and leadership are encouraged, they develop a sense of purpose. But if their big ideas are always shot down or called silly, they can start to feel guilty just for wanting to take charge, and that can make them hesitant to step up later on.
Okay, now we're in elementary school. The game has changed. The challenge is now industry versus inferiority. This is all about mastering new skills. Reading, writing, sports, you name it. When we accomplish these things and get praised for it, we feel capable, we feel industrious. But if we're constantly struggling, or if we're made to feel like we just can't keep up, that's when a feeling of being less than, of inferiority, can really take root.
So that covers the foundational years. Now let's fast forward a bit and look at the second half of the journey. These next 4 stages are all about the adult experience, from our teen years to our golden years, and they're all about figuring out who we are and what we're leaving behind.
Yeah, the adult path is really about tackling life's biggest questions, isn't it? Like, who am I, really? That's the challenge of identity. Then it's, can I build a life with someone, which is intimacy? Then, am I making a difference? That's generativity. And finally, the big one, looking back, was my life meaningful? That's the quest for integrity. All right, stage 5. This is the one everybody knows. Identity versus role confusion. Yep, the classic teenage identity crisis. This is that time when you're trying on different hats, exploring different beliefs, different friend groups, all to figure out which one fits. If you come out the other side with a solid sense of who you are, great. If not, you're left with what Erikson called role confusion, just feeling lost about your place in the world.
So once you've got a handle on who you are, the next big challenge pops up. Intimacy versus isolation. This happens in early adulthood. It's all about being able to form truly deep, committed relationships, friendships, romantic partners, you name it. If you can do that, you find intimacy. But if you struggle to connect on that level, you can end up feeling really isolated and alone.
Then comes middle adulthood, and the focus really shifts. It's not just about me anymore. The challenge is generativity versus stagnation. Generativity is a fancy word for, well, generating things, contributing to the future. It could be raising kids, mentoring younger colleagues, creating something meaningful at work. It's about giving back. The flip side is stagnation, where you feel kind of stuck, unproductive, and like you're not really making a difference.
And that brings us to the final stage, Integrity versus despair. This is when we're older, looking back on the whole journey. If you can look back and feel a sense of peace, a sense of wholeness, and feel that your life had meaning, that's integrity. But if that look back is filled with regret, what-ifs, and a feeling that you missed your chance, that can lead to despair.
Okay, so we've laid out this neat 8-stage ladder, but is life really like that? I mean, do you just figure out trust as a baby and then check, done, never have to worry about it again? Of course not. Real life is way, way messier than that, and that's a big point critics bring up.
And to be fair, Erikson got that. He'd probably agree that life isn't a straight line. He said these challenges are just most intense at certain ages, but they can pop up again anytime. Think about it. Someone goes through a messy divorce in their 40s. All of a sudden, those early challenges of trust, identity, and intimacy are right back on the table. So it's not about beating a level for good. It's about building the skills, the resilience, so you're better equipped to handle that challenge the next time it shows up.
So what's the point of all this? It's not just some abstract psychological theory. This map is actually super useful in the real world, especially when it comes to kids. If we as adults understand the specific level a child is on, we can be way more effective in helping them navigate it, particularly in a place like the classroom.
Let's bring it right into the classroom. For a preschooler who's in that initiative versus guilt stage, it means a teacher who says, "Wow, what a cool idea," instead of, "That's too messy." See, you're building their initiative. Or for an elementary kid in the industry versus inferiority stage, it's about giving them real responsibilities, praising them for what they do well, and helping them feel competent. This is how the theory stops being theory and starts being a toolkit for helping kids succeed.
So, as we finish up here, just think about this map of life for a second. It's pretty clear it's not just about being a kid, right? It's a framework for our whole lives. And it leaves us with a really good question to ask ourselves. Looking at this map, where are you right now? What's your current challenge?